Hey everybody, it's Deanna Durrell, your intuitive relationship coach and spiritual mentor. And I'm so excited to be featuring Sparkle Seats. And for those of you that are new to my channel, please subscribe so you never miss any videos on how to trust and love yourself. So an idea I had not that long ago was to find ways to add value to our goddess community. And what better way than to talk to you guys yourselves? So all six applicants have gone through an extensive process to be selected for these six spots. And we're going to be featuring one goddess over the next 6 months as we wrap up 2021. And each of them come with unique areas of concern and areas where they want to grow. And so I just hope that you enjoy this. And please, as always, as you're watching, if anything comes up that you want to share, feel free to leave a comment for us underneath this video. But my first goddess, I just want to give a little bit of background. So I have known Andrea for many years now, and she has always been the type of goddess to really want to grow herself and really step into what she can do to improve. Some people get coached and they just want the coach to do everything and, magically their life is changed. But Andrea is like, no, like, what are some tools that I can do to really take personal responsibility for myself? And that's just something that I really, really admire about her. So without further ado, Andrea, are you with us?
I am. Good
Yay!
morning, goddess.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here and for being brave and putting yourself out there.
Well, I'm happy to be here and happy to help any other goddesses along the way. So I'll be a
Yes.
guinea pig for one of
I
them.
love it. So, you wrote in your form that you really want to build confidence around your intuitive powers and sharing your gifts. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
I don't trust my inner voice, or I guess I have a difficult time discerning what is intuition and what is my head. I live in my head with my career, and just most of what I do is very intellectual. So I have a hard time separating some of that and identifying what is intuition and what is just my brain going through its little cycle. So getting more confidence in being able to identify, okay, that's not just book learning, that is my intuition, and just kind of getting a little bit clearer so that I can, help people that I work with, and then also be able to utilize it more for myself as well, and being able to identify that voice.
Okay. And so in the past, when you feel like you are dialed in, like what do you notice? Like, what are some characteristics?
It really is kind of strange because it's very situational. You've gone through like the different types of intuition, the sight and the hearing and the feeling and all of that. And it seems like depending on the situation, different channels come in to play. So if a message is coming through to me, sometimes it's visual or auditory, or through dreams. I can walk into a room and just get like this weird icky feeling and need to turn around and go back out.
Yeah.
I feel things also in my environment. When I'm working with clients, it seems to be more of a knowing and feeling combination. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's all over the place.
Yeah. Well, we have access to all channels. It's just in varying degrees. And for those of you watching this, like, channels, what the heck is she talking about? So, the clairvoyance is kind of our mainstream, like, oh, I see things, right? Or I see visions. Our clairsentience is clear feeling, which is what Andrea was describing. Claircognizance is you just know something. You don't know how you know it. It may seem illogical, but it's just there. And it sounds like that's one of your stronger ones. And clairaudience, right, is you'll hear things. Often clairaudience will have ringing in their ears. And generally, we have one or two that are dominant, but it's quite possible that you have all of them and you're, developing all of them in a subtle way. And it's just kind of like, depending, like you said, on the situation, different ones will be called upon. So I actually see that as a big strength of yours. And I wonder too, if it's less about what channel's coming through and more about the purity of the message. So, when it's coming from your head, what does it feel like to you? Like when you're overthinking something, it sounds like an obvious question, but it's not. Like, what are the sensations?
There doesn't seem to be a physical sensation to the thinking piece. It's just kind of like a light bulb. It's just like, oh, okay. And there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, when I'm working with clients, that seems to come through, where I'm able to kind of pick up on things that they're not able to say.
Yep.
So a little bit of the feeling, but then also the thoughts come through, dealing with with their issues and their problems. So there really isn't a feeling that comes with it. The only one that does have the feeling is when I'm feeling somebody else's energy, and or the energy of a room or something like that. Then that's pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really like a whole body experience.
So, because it sounds like you are tapped into your intuitive powers. It's just a matter of trusting them, right? And wanting them to get amplified. So, what's coming through right now is to ask you if you could choose one of them to kind of be your supersonic power, since you have all of them, which one would you want to develop?
It's a good question. They're all useful. It's just a matter of being confident in listening to them.
And what helps you be confident in not even listening to them, but just in general? Like what are things that help you to feel confident?
Just in general?
Mm-hmm.
Being good at something.
Okay. What else?
Just being educated on it, feeling competent in using it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's cooking or whatever that I'm doing, just feeling competent, I guess. And I don't necessarily feel confident when using my intuition.
Yeah. So, So what if it wasn't something that you necessarily had to control? Like
So
what if it wasn't something that you necessarily had to control, like a dial? Like what if you just, and I'm just kind of playing here, but what if you just allowed it to be, it's like, it's just a part of me. I don't necessarily have to be competent at it because it's just a part of me. It's like your hair. You don't have to be competent about your hair. It just is your hair, right? You can style it different ways. You can, cut it, but it's like, it's not going anywhere. And the same thing is true of your intuition. So I wonder if the confidence is more about letting go than trying, right, to like figure out how it works and like kind of go into your head about it so that you can put the
You're
stamp.
asking me to go out of my head.
I know, and yet be in your head, because that might be where it wants to be, right?
Well, I mean, that's definitely a way of looking at it that I can explore, of just letting it be, because you know me, I'm all about mastery, and trying to master everything. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've mastered this, therefore I'm like,
Yeah. So if you don't master it, it's like, are you going to master your nose?
No.
It's just there. Right? So then the reason that I asked you, okay, like if you could have your pick, and I don't know, maybe it's I want to amplify my knowing because it's just like really strong, or the feeling, then it becomes like a playground. It's like, okay, I can give you tools to help you to like let go of some of the insecurities that may be coming up around amplifying any one of those things. But at the end of the day, right, like for you, I wonder if it's about letting go. It's about letting go of needing to master it and already just allowing, right, allowing it to be. It's like your nose. I allow that it's here, and it doesn't have to look like the book says, or that other person that's super psychic, the way it looks for them. It's my nose, right? It's my intuition. And that creates maybe some space so that you can play with it and have fun with it. I don't know, like, how does that feel?
Scary.
Okay. What feels scary about it? That's interesting.
You know me about letting things go. Just letting things be as they are and not exploring it, not expanding it, and just letting it go. I don't know. It just doesn't, like, but I'm not there yet. I haven't gotten it. Yeah, I haven't mastered it. I don't have, so I'm still running that dialogue in the back of my head.
So confidence, right? If you reframe confidence to I have to master something in order to be confident, I wonder if one affirmation, for example, you could play with is like letting go of needing to master something
Mhm.
allows for my confidence to come out, right? Because confidence really is connected to trust, trusting yourself, trusting that you can handle it, that you can analyze the message or whatever it is. But intuition is not like riding a bike. It's like it's innately there. Riding a bike, we have to learn. Intuition is already there. It's like a built-in system, but it's more about releasing all the layers around the system, right? Of trying to control it.
But do you exercise it like a muscle?
Yeah, every day with the level of trust that you have in it, right? If you're
Okay.
constantly going into, well, am I doing it right? Like, am I crazy? Like that thing. And we all do it. I've been doing this for over a decade professionally and I still do it, right? But um, I don't think that voice ever goes away. But for you, because I know that you tend to be up here and want to analyze it and want to break it apart. Your intuition is like not it's not something that you need to break apart. It's a part of you. It's your nose. I mean, you can break it apart if you want. Hey, like but I think accepting it, right? Accepting it might be the first step, is like accepting that you have all these channels available to you. And it's okay to let go of knowing which one's going to come through in any given moment. Like that is maybe out of your control. One day it's going to be the feeling, and another day or another moment it's going to be the hearing. And you're like, what the hell? Like, can't I just contain you? And maybe until the moment that you accept that it can't be contained, then right, the mind will relax. Your messages will be more sharply fine-tuned because you're not getting in your own way. And then you can start, right? You can start to play with it more. So I would say step one for you is just asking, right? Like, am I committed to experimenting with letting go of needing to control my intuition?
Write that down.
Go for it. And for those of you watching right now, like her question really applies to any area where you don't feel confident or you want to be more confident, is like trust, right? Trust that as you let go of needing to analyze it, or judge yourself for not being in a certain place, you create mental space and energetic space to be shown, right? The next step, or to relax into your physical body and to relax your mind so that you can be receptive to what wants to come through, or to whatever that next step is. So, and then, once you play with that, it may feel really uncomfortable. And it's not, the letting go is not like giving up, right? It's just a conscious release to need to figure it out, because figuring it out is getting in your way. The need to figure it out, right?
Yeah, that's happened a few times.
And if you didn't need to figure it out, if it just was what it was, you might surprise yourself at what comes out.
Yeah. Because I feel a constant need to have to try to figure it out. And I do compare myself to others. It's like, okay, well, they can just sit there and messages come, and I'm like, all right, still listening, kind of thing. But then it seems to pop in at, not on will, but it just kind of pops in
Yeah.
different situations, but I can't call it. So maybe that's where I'm feeling.
Oh, like giving an intuitive reading, you mean? Or
Anything like that.
okay.
Where I'm driving down the street and it's like, okay, which way should I go? Light, dark, kind of trying to figure it out. Just even when I'm practicing, just in like daily type, mundane type things, it doesn't seem to come in when I call it.
Okay, I see what you're asking now. So it's more just like wanting to use it in the moment, right?
Nice.
And just, yeah, well, and you can, but I wonder too if it's because in the case of should I go right, should I go left? For you, I'm getting it. So for you, what I'm hearing is like, you just make a choice, right? Make the one that feels the most expansive in the moment. And the more that you do that, which is another version of letting go a bit, letting go of the wheel just a bit, you build that self-trust muscle. And what feels like letting go in the moment is actually you surrendering to that intuitive voice, right? But we've been so trained, or you may have, I don't know, taking classes or read books that are like, okay, ask this question this way, and this is how it's going to come in. And it may not be that way for you, which causes you to doubt yourself, right? And then like go into like, why isn't it working? But if your whole thing is, all right, should I go left or should I go right? Instead of using the word should, what feels more expansive? I'm going to go right. I don't know what's going to happen if I go right, but I'm going to go right. So that's another question that you can play with, is what feels more expansive? Kind of like a balloon. Is it going to inflate the balloon or deflate it? And it's not logical.
It's just a whole bunch of me analyzing my intuition and why I don't feel it's working up to par. But I guess it is sort of working. It's just not when I want it to work, or at least not when I'm telling it to work. So that's that control piece.
Yeah. So if your intuition is like, that sounds funny, but if our intuition is like this wise, like elder, if you've ever known a wise elder, most of them are. I'm thinking of my grandpa.
Could
They
be my
usually have
grandma sitting there too.
right? Like they usually have a twinkle in their eye, and they believe what they believe. But if you try to control them, it doesn't usually work out so well. And our intuition can kind of be like that. It's like, you are questioning me? Like, that's cute. I'm just going to shut down. Right? So instead, like, what would you do with your grandma in that case if you were like, God, I really want you to tell this one story right now. And she's like, I don't want to tell the story right now. And you're like, no, but I really want you to tell it. I need you to tell me right now. And I need you to tell it in this way. Right? Like,
Yeah. That would go well.
So, I mean, if you wanted her to tell this story, what might you do? And we're totally just playing here. Like, I don't have the right answer.
If I wanted my grandmother to tell me a story.
Yeah, like one specific kind of story that only she can tell.
I mean, I could attempt to ask nicely.
Okay.
There's probably food involved.
Same with my grandpa. There's Colombian coffee. Doesn't matter if I don't drink coffee. Here you go, mija. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But just I suppose having to sit and listen to all of the other stories first until that one came out on its own.
That is very true. So our intuition is kind of like that, right? If we just kind of, this is being a bit dramatic, but if it's something like life or death, that is going to take precedence over, should I have this coffee or that coffee? Because you're practicing your intuition, right? So trusting that your intuition's giving you the messages that it needs to give you when it needs to give it to you. And your only job, like you with your grandmother, is to be receptive, is to be calm, is to make sure that she's surrounded by the things that she loves, which in this case is your body, right? In your mind. Like, and I think that's spiritual hygiene, is noticing, being in a state of observation before we ask a question. Right? And this isn't a perfect system either, but like, when you get caught up in that story of, I'm not doing it right, am I hearing it right, is it coming from my head, like, you're trying to control grandma. She's not
I'm
going
going to be
with you.
remembering that, and it's going to make me relax because you cannot control my grandmother.
No, she's just like,
even from beyond.
she's like, that's really interesting that you think you can do that. Like, so if that helps anybody out there, if you have a relative that you're just like, I know I can't control them, think about that the next time that you're trying to control any part of your life. And control is very different than guiding, right? So you can guide your grandma. You can sit there and vision with her about what you desire and what she desires. But you can't wrangle grandma. I mean, you can try, but it's not going to be fun for either one of you.
Yeah, you would definitely lose.
Yeah. And then what are the chances she would tell you the story again? It's like, yeah, right. Even if you got her to that point, she's just like, I'm going to change all the details.
Make you work for it, for sure.
Yes. I love it. So, what would you say are some of your takeaways from today? What are you remembering about this?
I think the biggest thing is in order for me to trust whatever channel is coming through, I have to stop trying to harness it and control it. And just kind of accept that it's just like breathing, and it's like, okay, it's there, and thank the universe for when it does come through.
Mhm.
Or when I'm able to recognize it coming through, I guess. And then just kind of work on expanding it that way instead of trying to force the voice, force whatever is coming through. It's like, come on through, darn it, kind of thing. But just kind of being more aware of when it does come through, so that I can hopefully relax a little bit and not have to analyze it so much.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And so just kind of like bullet pointing it down is relax, right? Relax and trust, and like give space and allowance. So if you do those three things in any given day, you might be delightfully surprised by what comes out. And the more you're delightfully surprised and in grace with it, the more it'll want to show up. The more grandma will want to give you cookies and be like, let me tell you that story again, but with brighter colors, right? With more enthusiasm. And you don't even have to tell me. I'm just going to tell you. And I'm going to add on a bonus story. So when we get to be the joyful receivers, because it's literally our intuition's like an antenna and we are just receiving information. You can't receive information if you're trying to control the tower. So I love that. And so for everybody watching, if this sparked something in you, if you have an insight or resource that could help Andrea, please pop it below in the comments and let us know, what you got out of today's coaching session, today's kickoff with the Sparkle Seats. And if you're not already subscribed, please check out the website for more free goodies at thedancinggoddess.com. Andrea, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming on.